you hear me? No. We couldn't go here. So, first item on the agenda, approval of minutes for March 20th, 2012.
Second.
Any discussion? Minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Approval of addendum or supplemental agenda, which we don't have. So move on to statements from the public on agenda items. We have Tim Rees. Subject matter are 2 items, closing the pump and director. Representing staff. Hi, good morning, Tim.
Can you come up here so that we can get you on the mic?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Good morning, Tim. Thank you for coming. There are 2 agenda items that we wish to discuss. If you could keep it subject to 3 minutes, that would be really appreciated.
Okay, and can I ask you a question on that, on the item number of items? I just got the copy of the director's report off the table right there. There's actually 2 items I'd like to speak to on that. Is that possible, or would that be, one is the composting, and the other one is the solid waste programs in general?
Okay,
Oh, and organics. It's kind of related to the compost organics. Ready to start?
Sure.
Okay, good morning. As you folks know, if you've been following the solid waste issue to the degree I think any commissioners would, you know that the mayor is leaning towards, at this time, it sounds like he wants to have a good look at waste to energy incineration. I don't know if you folks realize this, and this is not taking anything away from the service you provide to our community, but there's been 3 main pushes for incinerators through district. This starts in the 1900s. And, you know, everybody used to burn their own waste, right? I mean, commercial incinerators. On the last wave, what happened was the federal government and the state governments all over the place losing landfill capacity. They were desperate. They wanted to sell incinerators. Waste to energy actually came along much later. One of the things they did was they actively went out. There's been so much propaganda about the value of waste to energy and the good sides of it, and there's been just as much propaganda from the other side saying they're horrible, can't be. Truth of the matter is, they fit in. But I got out almost every book I could find in the Hilo library here on waste energy, actually on waste management. They all, surprisingly, all focus on waste energy. And they don't take one side or the other. But what they do say, it's unfortunate that there's been so much propaganda from either side on this issue that's really muddied the water. What they are all in agreement is that you cannot have just mass burn. So in relation to, speaking of the closing of the Hilo landfill, and where the mayor, it sounds like he's moving through media reports, what you really need is massive recycling in conjunction with waste to energy. Every single one of these books agrees with that right here in front of me. One of these is written by the great archaeologist on Carthage out of Arizona. I forget his name, he's one of his authors. You know, you can't have plastics in there. You can't have glass. You can't have metals in there. What happens is plastics corrode, when PVCs and other plastics burn, they radically corrode the facilities. This is one of the reasons why there's been 3 phases of incinerators through American history and European, Japanese history. They didn't expect it, but they should have. They should have known better. You know, the chemistry was pretty easy for people to foresee. And also, when they talk about emissions, nobody today can predict what the emissions will be. Nobody has ever done that yet, to my knowledge. Now, these books are a little bit old. They're 89 to 92, all right? So, you know, take this not with a grain of salt, but understand that I'm working on relatively recent information. There hasn't, to my knowledge, been any drastic technological breakthroughs in waste energy. That being said, now I'm going to focus more on the closure of the landfill. I I believe Hilo landfill should be closed almost immediately as soon as personnel changes and union issues can be ironed out. And I base that on two separate things. Primarily, if you go to the EPA and you look at Hilo landfill, it's just a dump. It's not lined at all. Nobody even knows what's down there. I've spoken with a bunch of old-time operators telling me that the county used to routinely go over there, drain all fluids out of the dozers and their heavy equipment. And you can imagine, back when people weren't concerned about these things, that's what you were told to do. Get over there, dump it, fill it back up, and get working, you know. Things was expediency, not so much, you know, environmental issues until the early 70s, you know. So what happens is we've got a horrible landfill. For some reason, it's kind of working. Nobody knows if that's because of the great amount of rain that we're dealing with here. That is very unusual. The closest amounts of rainfall I could find was Naples, Florida. That gets about 70 to 80 inches a year annually. So with landfill chemistry, there's a whole lot of things going on that we're not aware of. But we had a perfectly good landfill on Hulu. It was overbuilt for capacity. The landfill really should have been built to last 40-something years with the amount it's getting. It should be built to last about 20 years, 25, 30 years from the combined amount from Hilo. So you look on the EPA website, the first thing they got right there is the census data. 52% Hawaiians, more part Polynesians, right? What's happening is we're subjecting this particular community to a second, an impermissible status category. We're saying, you people, you poor people, you don't get a good landfill opportunity. Even if you're environmentalists, you don't get a vote or a say on that. You cannot ask us to even send this material to the good land landfill. By the way, most communities now, if they don't have an incinerator in their backyard, they truck over 100 miles. So it is nothing. And listen, everyone says East and West Hawaii, right? Who paid for that? We are one community, one political entity. So I don't think the mayor, there's a couple things I'm trying to get at here. The efficiencies that can be gained. Your department and your commission here should have a long haul study from East Hawaii, West Hawaii. In that study, what they found, they shipped about 4,000 tons, I believe it was, over a period of 3 months. They saved $50, $49.37 or something like that, every single ton. Whatever we come up with, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm bouncing around a little bit, but these things are interrelated, so it's hard for me to just get on one subject and go 3 minutes straight. So if there's any kind of latitude, can just go on 4 minutes. It's hard for me to segregate them. Okay, because here's the deal. That's $50 a ton on that. That doesn't mean necessarily, when you read the rest of the report, that they say you're going to save $50 a ton if you ship all of Hilo's garbage over there. Their number was somewhere in the neighborhood, I think, $30. But you got to understand, the $85 cost they have at Hilo landfill did not even begin to take into consideration the cost of closing the Hilo landfill. The community here has never demanded of our government to start putting away money on all the tons that are going there, a percentage for closure. So now these last tons in these last couple of years projected, the cost on those per ton for closure is astronomical because we were irresponsible, we didn't do the right thing all along. What I maintain is this: no matter what direction you advise the county to go in, the county ultimately goes in, there's going to be 2 to 3 years of continuous, about the same amount of material, 64,000 or 50,000 tons when you deduct green waste, annually deposited at Hilo landfill. At West Hawaii, I forget exactly the number, but I think it's in the neighborhood of 139,000 tons. I'm not sure if that already deducts the 25,000 tons of green waste. But just take Hilo's. 50,000 tons and about 140. About 200,000 tons. Hilo's is the most important one, 50. Over 3 years, if you save $50 a ton, that's an enormous amount of money. That money can go towards a MRF facility at West Hawaii. Hilo's going to be closed. The material's going to have to go West Hawaii, or where else would anybody cite an incineration facility? Would you take and ship the larger amount of material from West Hawaii to Hilo? And you know, they're saying that you need about 500 tons of throughput a year. We just get that combined with both facilities. So, you know, logically, you would be shipping a lesser amount, 50,000 tons, over to West Hawaii. It just makes good business sense, and you get great efficiencies. Now, again, looking through these books, you have to recycle. You have to, we should, in my opinion, be trying to take out compostable materials. With that, you have to remember, this 60% number is inflated. And I wish Mr. Goodell's here, to have some input on that. These guys do the breakdowns on all these landfills, they find the same relative numbers. People think, diapers, disposable diapers are as much as 30% of landfill. They're 1%, all the landfills in the US. We're similar, well, obviously we have different numbers, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. So when you're talking about compostable materials, the number is not, oh, we have 60% in the general waste stream that is compostable. Well, about 80% of that is paper, simply paper. Now, that's good stuff to burn in a waste-to-energy system, but if we ever go to waste-to-energy, it's gonna have the best state-of-the-art scrubbers to knock out the dioxins. It's gonna have to maintain constant temperature to knock out dioxins. Yeah. And just to summarize that, there's incredible efficiencies, whether you deal with all material in Hilo or in Hulu or up in Oaxaca or any other site that the mayor could prefer or you folks would prefer. There are fantastic efficiencies. And okay, and the next one was basically on the closing of the Hilo landfill. Director's report. Okay, we're looking at here. Okay, this is COM 169, more in general with related to its solid waste programs. Here's what I say, no matter what for the next 2 or 3 years, the same amount of solid waste is gonna go into Hilo landfill and Hulu. We should move forward with a MRF facility, and I'm sure you're all familiar with that, a conveyor system where people are actually picking materials out. We should leave the mulching facility as it is in Hilo. The biggest problem with that portion of the solid waste program is that we haven't even begun to responsibly deal with the invasive species problem. I've been working with Dennis Amishi, council member of 4th District. I've been working with Kaz Vanderbilt regarding this. They say, well, it's not so much of a problem. We know that Kaz says 2/3 of the area feeding the Hilo landfill with green waste is known to have the fire ant. And you know, the bottom line is this, I went down there and got a lot of that material. I found out from, what's the site, Richardson's Beach Park. County hired a contractor went over there to the mulch facility and dumped green waste that was radically infested with the fire ant. Now, when we're talking about landfilling in this, we're talking about keeping toxins out of the environment so they don't spread. If you think about that, little red fire ant, that could be considered one of the most radical toxins on this island because of its ability to spread itself once it's been taken to a new site. This thing is horrible. Nobody can even believe how much it has spread. And a lot of that is through plant media, such as mulch, compost, friends giving each other potted plants and such. It spreads really easily. It's hard to detect unless you actually do the peanut butter test for it. That is easy to do, but getting people to do that routinely is not so easy. But we must ensure that Hilo Mulch Project is at very low cost to the residents. It's taking out 25% of the solid waste stream of Hilo. I maintain what we do is leave that as is, ship all the rest of the rubbish as soon as possible to Hulu, set up a full MRF recovery facility over there where we separate out all plastics, glass, and compostables. And if we are to move to waste to energy, that system would satisfy all 3 of those operations. It would help them immensely. And if someone has a better idea on that whole project of handling our solid waste programs, I'd love to hear it. I can prove the efficiencies and the money that can be saved through the county's own report on the long haul study. Thank you. And I think there was one more item. Oh, no, it's just one last comment on the organics diversion section in the recycling section number 5, subsection 3. Please remember this. The number that's been used on all the composting is 60%. 60% of our gross waste stream is compostable. While that may be true, all these books and everything here is saying 40%, probably 80% of that compostable waste stream is papers. When you see the numbers in landfills all around the world, it's incredible how much newspaper, they separate newspaper from papers. Newspaper typically 25 to 30% of the solid waste stream, that's even nowadays. And papers, other papers, equal about 25%. and then there is magazines also. So you're looking at paper fiber products, excellent stuff, run through a waste energy facility or even an incineration facility. The key consideration on any incineration facility is not allowing dioxins and other nasty chemicals out the scrubbers. I was here during the entire wheelabrator assessment at the county council. I was there personally when I heard wheelabrator's principals say they could have knocked 25 to 30 million off the price of that. I was floored. I said, why are you bringing that forward now when the project just got killed? And the other thing was, I want to say, and he's not here to defend himself, but their people came in and lied, bald-faced lies to the county council about nothing coming out of the staff. There is no expert in that field that will tell you that. Please learn about the propaganda that's been out there. Our decisions have to be based on fact, not facts that come simply from the corporation pushing waste energy. They have to come from the experts, the scientists in the field. There's plenty of material out there. I apologize for speaking on material that's close to 20 years old, but waste to energy and incineration technology, to my knowledge, has had no great breakthrough since then. We're taking it out of the scrubber. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, director's report.
Good morning to the chair and the members. Okay, so on my director's report, what I decided to do this time around was just to list the legislation and its status, since there seems to be quite a bit happening in that area. So, Resol 3113, that's being postponed indefinitely, as well as communication 202, which is the presentation of mulching and composting. And the reason on that one is with the mayor's latest direction towards waste reduction technology, I thought it best to step back and look at how, look at the solid waste management and handling of recycling materials before making decisions. Because a lot of these contracts that we have in place now, and we would think, with composting or whatever to come to be, waste reduction technology, all of these share the same components for its feedstock. So it's best to just do some, stand back and do some homework before we go and make plans to do using composting. If you're looking at a 10-year contract before we jump into something like that, to look at what is realistic and what can we actually recycle. So I'm not saying that recycling is out of the picture, it's just we got to look at it. So another legislative item is Bill 44, and that is going to be agendized June 4th to 2013 agenda. And that we'll be discussing that as part of one of the code changes as well. That is communication that was introduced by Councilperson Kern. Appreciate his efforts on helping us with handling our billing and collections issues. The wastewater projects and updates, everything pretty much here is status quo. I'll just address a couple of things here. On page 2, the North Sewer and landfill release upgrade project. Just a little bit of background on that project. Back in 2007, the Department of Actual Wastewater Division embarked on a program to look at sewer and landfill reuse, basically the reuse side of it, because the effluent being discharged from the phase two is installing a pump station and force main from County Plant back to the wastewater treatment plant. And phase three was the upgrade of the plant to produce all water. So this is the overall concept as we move towards a lot of reduced program for this island. Phase one is will be constructed under the state highways FinCom Island widening project, which they've been having a hard time. They started 2 years ago, and they run into myriad problems. Lately, running into archaeological sites. So they're having to redesign the alignment of the highway. And we have, the department has paid them back in October 2010 to move the steel wall to install the phase one of our sewer network Rees. But because of complications, they haven't gotten started yet. But they are looking at construction later this year. And what they need now is the redesign cost, which when we evaluated it, we think it's quite high. It's 10% of the original construction cost. It's reasonable if you're looking at a new design, but not for a redesign where you're simply shifting the alignment of the anyway, we've had a meeting with the mayor to express our concerns about this, and he will try and talk to state highways and get some more clarification on the cost. On the other hand, we have to remember that if the county does this project, phase one of this project on its own 2 years later, the cost could be almost twice as much. So we have to take that into account too. The total cost of construction for the phase one is about 3.1 million. Okay, page 3, the California aeration upgrade and sludge removal project. Hopefully this will not be a delay to this, as wastewater division is looking at doing that project middle of this year. Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has gotten involved. They're concerned about the Hawaiian stilt and coots that make their home in there. One of I don't remember which one of the species is migratory, the other one is there all year long. They're concerned is disrupting their breeding and living habits.
So what would you do?
Well, they want us to implement any mitigative measures. There's a possibility that we need to schedule our construction around their breeding cycle. We need to perhaps set up the construction in such that we don't disturb where they're nesting. So U.S. Fish and Wildlife hasn't come back to us yet. We will pretty soon, hopefully before we start construction. I guess worst case is that this could resolve sideways because they may ask us, okay, from such month to such month, we don't want you doing anything, we don't want you doing heavy construction activities.
Do you know how long the birds have been present there?
Oh, they've been there forever. They have to give you the exact year that they
Cyrus,
live there.
but they're there.
I don't know what, you know, you commissioners would do, but. Moving on to solid waste division, projects and updates. On page 4, item 3, we're working on the mixing metal bid, which is the contract that will continue on scrap metal recycling. Right now, the issue is that a number of the potential vendors are waiting for permits to enable them, to allow them to process scrap. Scrap metal, you know, there's various types of scrap metals, there's various categories, and they don't have that permit, that minimum permit, and they can't do what they do with that. So those are the kinds of permits that these vendors are waiting for. So when this bid went out, some of these issues were lacked as far as applicable permits. So we're going to be reissuing this, and we're getting in touch with DOH to ask them if they can expedite processing of these permits so we can get these bids out and get some good responses. We're also going to, well, I probably shouldn't talk too much more about it because we're getting hearing right now, so I'll just stop right there. The abandoned vehicle and towing, that is something else that we're also working on as soon as we can. Try to get services in for those contracts, getting those contracts in. Okay, on to recycling section.
We're expecting.
I'm looking at mid-year.
And how long do you think the actual work
will take. These are rehabilitating or actually redoing the retaining walls, the new retaining walls. So I would say estimate maybe 6 months' time. When we get a definite schedule, I'll certainly let you know. Okay, recycling section. So the two been hauling proposal is actually due April 24th, not April 18th. So I didn't catch that change when I did this report. One item of note that I've also brought up in the budget hearings is number 4, the I-5 Certified Redemption Center. At this point, we really don't know if the state is going to give us grant monies for that. There's talk that they may, but I'm not banking on it, so I'm going to continue talking to council about that, about the urgency and the need to fund, continue funding that particular program because it's an important program, it's been successful, and it has been convenient and largely used by customers. Just the if we don't have, if we didn't have it, people would really miss it. I know there are private vendors who recycle, who are involved in recycling. They're in specific locations that would be far away from certain people. We're island communities are so spread out. Really, it's more convenient for somebody to go to the local transfer station to do recycling rather than drive all the way into town or something like that. I am writing a letter right now, drafting a letter to DOH, just stating the urgency for them to make up their minds on whether they're going to fund it or not. If you want to call DOH as well and give your input, we appreciate it. Otherwise, it's left up to the council to try and find funding for it. We all know that we're a bit stretched. Deal would be the person to talk to. He's the head of environmental management division. He would be the top. He's the head guy.
Can I suggest it might be appropriate for the commission to have
Make a motion to amend.
Discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion approved. That's it for the director's report. The status update on the workstation, that's on the last page.
Can I ask a quick question? Going back to the beginning, the legislative progress, doing that regulation, not following, most of it, but it seems that of the three players here, DEM, the council, and the mayor, there are reasons for delaying this, the solid waste, the composting, and that. Is everybody sort of on the same page? Is the council delaying for the training of the mayor as well?
Council agreed. They voted to, there was a 9-0 vote to postpone. And it's been a discussion with council, discussed.
Could I point something out that there's an error on how they're describing what happened on that reso that's confusing? I spoke with the council chair. What do you think? I haven't done it. You're familiar with this also. You see how it says 4/16/13 council postponed indefinitely? I just wanted to point out that's misleading. When a parliamentary body actually, and Mr. Dill, you might be aware of this too, makes a motion to postpone indefinitely, that's to kill a subject, a resolution. It won't be brought back. What actually, to the local vernacular, postponed indefinitely, I guess you could say that's right because they said postponed to the call of the chair. That means it's still alive. I just wanted to point that out. I pointed it out to the chair of the council and they said they would be writing a letter to just it's easier now to bring that out so people know it's not dead. It's postponed to call of the chair.
Yes, it's not dead.
Yeah, they use the wrong terminology and it's being followed, so.
Going back to the sewer, okay. So that increase that you're seeing of about 10% of construction costs, is that, you said you guys took a look at it, is that being looked at by anybody else to see if it's justified, or is it being looked at any more? Because it's quite,
We've spoken with, state DOT, here's, it's a design build project. And it's a DOT project, and the lead on the contract is, Hilo Brothers, and the designer is the same. We talked to state DOT about our concerns, and they say they discussed it amongst, within the organization, and, at this point, there aren't going to be any changes made to it. We had asked, asked for the breakouts, which we got, and that's how we responded to their evaluation, the number of hours. From what we could see, it seems they're presenting it as if this redesign would take 70 weeks, which is way excessive. There's only 52 weeks a year. So, yeah, it's a project that's under the state. Yeah, but we're piggybacking onto this project to save us in the long run cost, traffic disruption, leaving permits. So even though we're making some noises about this now, it's like if you look at the alternative, which is to do it on your own, and it's going to cost us twice as much. That's not a good, that would be perceived as being irresponsible handling taxpayer money, right?
Is this meeting in alignment for the cost for the other portions of the work? Or just the other portion?
Oh, yeah, it's also DWS, they're putting in a long line, so there's an increase to.
For everyone, all their.
Yeah, it's for the town. Although their costs aren't as much, because, water lines are pressurized lines, so they basically fall underneath sewers, because you have to maintain slope for gravity flow, so sometimes you're having to avoid the utilities and going deeper and having to hold that grade.
okay. And then a question about the, operation of the hideout inspection. Operation B. You said, I assume we'll be getting a report of the, hideout inspection issue.
Yeah, once it's issued, I can provide you with it.
Do you know of anything that maybe that's,
Nothing was, a notable.
okay. Go ahead.
Any other questions?
When it comes to equitable use, that's different from the, airport, the airport, pipeline.
Oh, the old Coney Airport, yeah, that's, you must be looking
I was looking
at
at,
F.
I was looking at, C, and.
Yeah.
F, sorry, the right now,
Yeah, that's different, that's going in the opposite direction.
right.
That, that would be providing equitable use to Old Highway Park.
Right. So my question is, for the north corner, the reuse would be directed where?
The reuse would be directed to, properties along Queen, Highway, north of Plant. So it's going to be a public installation for businesses, properties along Queen Common. The ultimate let you go longer and bring Rees up to those elevations. But that's a huge, more a huge undertaking, because we have to find tank sites to store your Rees, because you refer everything to gravity flow now to reusers. So that is a future challenge.
Any other questions? Any comments? Commission member district update reports. Trina? No. Sure about it,
But,
Bruce?
yeah, let's hope that there's some, seems like the trend is for conscious to do that, waste energy.
After our last commission meeting, I contacted her before, works on Cloud District, and, had, very interesting discussion from, for, discussion on, wastewater. And she was very, very, supportive of the wastewater division and those efforts there. And I attended the Dora's budget presentation to council. I ran it forward, really zeroed in on wastewater and capital improvements, and was suggesting bonds, using bonds to generate funds for the capital improvements for the CGM, and saving our budget in that regard. And the other point of note at that budget presentation was also the bill 44, the second occurrence bill. So what I saw from that presentation was a fair amount of support from that council already. So I was prompt in reception and proposals.
And I appreciate you attending the budget hearing and being there.
Well, I could have said.
No, it's you know, it's good that you're there and hearing it firsthand and getting a feel for what's council reacts to.
Well, I thought we had a lot of support coming from town council, and, which was good to hear now. We'll see what the result is.
Yeah.
And I think the, council member Ford was requesting putting together a package of, capital improvements that could be recognized
Yeah.
as,
Yeah, I'm working with, she's had some phone calls and
Okay.
so I'm getting back to her on that.
okay. Great.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes.
And then, Dora will present to me again.
That is the plan. I'm waiting for an answer from the mayor's office to give me the go-ahead to do that.
And I'm waiting for an answer back from Senator Woodman, regarding the, Department of Education, to put that as part of his one or set of, priorities. So I'm waiting for back on that. That was decided in the schools, so. And I know you just.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to serve, for the board to serve.
Well, thank you so much for, unfinished business. Discussion of said Hilo sanitary landfill closure plan and alternatives following closure.
One thing that I do, I forgot to mention, was requested, for the meeting tomorrow with, Councilman Milan, so I did not have a meeting with him. He was at my hearing, voted in on the board, so, I will be meeting with him tomorrow sometime, so hopefully by next month we'll have some sort of, report. Because the council, I guess the, council, commission membership updates don't necessarily have to be for your council district.
Not necessarily, however.
Okay, so I just want to share. Next month I should have the result of my meeting.
You know, we also, contact your senators.
Okay, got it. Got it. All right, thank you, sorry about that.
No, no. So unfinished business. Discussion of the South Hilo sanitary landfill closure plan and alternatives following closure. Where are you at, Dora? Is that official?
No, my plan is, to get some data together for the mayor, and have a meeting with him to see, whether, as we move forward, what specific steps we need to take. But again, keeping in mind that we need to look at the overall picture, so how we manage the solid waste and recycling, so that we'll be looking at down the road.
Right, because that goes all the
Yeah,
time.
everything is interrelated, so, as I, but, this month and next month, I'm kind of focused on budget right now. Department budget squared away.
Okay. New business. Draft sewer rate study.
Okay, my plan for that is, we started the conversation back up with a consultant who's helping us with this, and I'm looking at, doing, presenting preliminary data to the mayor first, and then, probably, hopefully, presenting some information in the next LEC. And then after that, I plan on going into council either, June or July. This is why I wanted to do the presentation, also do the sewer facilities presentation in May. Not only to, educate and inform council members, but, to reinforce the need for the budget that I'm asking for, and also it, gives them an introduction to the concept of the sewer rate increase.
On that note, also had discussion with our board, on two instances, but this last discussion also, in her district, we have the two wastewater treatment plants coming up, not already, and Hilo. So I was really trying to emphasize the fact that, the importance of wastewater and sewer treatment, sewer rate fees will be coming up for discussion at some point. So I was really trying to reinforce the notion that, sewers, benefit everyone on the side that participates in that. So, any, basically raising awareness to the importance of wastewater and what that involves into us, because it's far less visible than, solid waste. And so in any discussions that anyone has with council members, that's something to keep in mind, and I would suggest reinforcing and raising their awareness as the importance of wastewater. Everyone saw that Dora's presentation. I think Councilmember Gray was, last commissioning, and it had a really significant effect on her. And, I think she really didn't understand what the shows has, but, he's not present presentation for budget, so all we can do, to, encourage them, is certainly appreciated, so. And,
Oh, yeah.
yep.
Did, you have anything in the, these are the drafts with the rates that, did you put anything in for the electricity costs adjustment? You know, like the cost of electricity always goes up, right? So, I know a lot of, property in this, needs to go on with electricity. I know water supply has a power cost adjustment, and it's based on, I think their study was 4 years. It's based on the last 4 years, what the cost of electricity was. And then based on that, they have a power adjustment to cover the cost of the higher electricity usage for the next 4 years. So I'm thinking it should be, something should be in place like that to, allow for that. Maybe we can look at the water supply did for their rate study and what they use to calculate the power adjustment, so that we can add it into the next 4 years, or whatever the years are. And then, I think also maybe some repair and maintenance, some kind of repair and maintenance, for the next 4 years, what is projected, maybe if that could be included in.
Yeah, I know the rate study, the draft rate study does look at, the equipment replacement projects in operations over the next 10 years. I don't remember if it addressed the electrical power. I mean, I would think it would make sense, but I can't tell you at this point
Yeah,
until I look
no,
at
but I
the
think
details.
maybe something, if it's coming up, maybe we should check and make sure that something like that is in, so that we cover the cost of it. Yes.
Any other comments on the survey study?
Not at this point.
Proposed sewer and solid waste water county code changes to address existing and minimize current future emergencies.
Okay, on this one, Robin will come up and discuss more of the details of that one. So there's proposed changes in solid waste, sewer, wastewater, and changes to the admin rate. So some of these in the solid waste really is to reduce the redundancy of hearings, reduce the interest rates of, and apply them to past due amounts. This is where she talked about Bill 44 as well, that was introduced by Councilmember Kern. And the driver behind that really is to reduce our credit situation, because that is what has been contributing to delinquencies. Some of the code changes in sewer will address the billing and collection side and procedures as we prepare for the water shutoff, joint billing with Department of Water. There will be some proposed changes to admin rules in way of the appeals procedures, reducing redundancy with permits, and permit suspension process, and making some revisions on payment of interest charges to be consistent with the upcoming code changes. So welcome, and we have it come up. Go through detail.
As Dora said, we're looking at making some code changes regarding the appeals process.
due for the previous month's services have been not recognized, so by going within 30 days, now we're going into the next month, so we have to give you 10 more days. So it does not see as an addition, so I would be recommending to not do that. Consider it.
Try to put it in perspective, if I take a load to the landfill on the first of the month, that charge is not due until the end of the following month. So that particular load already has 60 days before it's due. So we would recommend extending going further. 10 days, it's not a huge amount of time, but not sure what the additional attention. So the status of that, bill is, I think Dora mentioned, it's been postponed until June 4th. And there's some also incurred, there's I set up meetings with the haulers to discuss this bill and get their input. So, along with the proposed changes regarding solid waste collections and clarifications regarding the appeals process, we would also be proposing amendments to the administrative rules to correspond with those changes. The administrative rule is largely going to reflect what the code says, so we need to keep them consistent. With regards to code changes relating to sewer, these changes all revolve around enabling us to build a joint drilling with the Department of Water Supply to allow for a water shutoff for non-payment of sewer fees. So we would add language regarding the bidding process, provide that bidding is residential customers and Department of Water Supply can bid. Currently, our residential customers already are on the same cycle as Department of Water Supply, so liability is essentially for those charges. However, our residential billings, which are just a flat fee, we're not currently billing on the same cycle. So we would amend the language to put our billings back onto the same cycle as the Department of Water Supply to enable joint billing. We would also include language to add that bills not paid within 30 days from the bill date will be subject to discontinuance of water service. And as I mentioned previously, we would also be removing the interest rate from 18% to 12% for consistency with water supply. We would also need to change the language which currently holds the property owner ultimately responsible for the sewer bill. The current code allows them to have it billed to a tenant or another party. It doesn't eliminate their liability, but it does have that provision. In order for us to go to joint billing with Department of Water Supply, we're going to have to be the legislators for water supply. So we will be removing that language, and that holds the property owner ultimately responsible, and we will just simply bill whoever signs up for the water is responsible for sewer.
So if all of these things pass and happen, does that mean you have agreement with AWS and joint billing?
Yeah, this is, we need to do all the code changes before we can really go forward with.
But there's agreement that once you do the code changes, there will be, or?
We have their agreement to cooperate, yeah. Nothing's written right now.
The Department of Water Supply will likely need to amend some of their rules and regulations as well to provide for
you know, their water board also needs to improve this endeavor. So, I've been bringing this up, that we're trying to solicit the help of the mayor to make sure that we stay on track with this. So, sort of saying that, I feel more comfortable if I get something from the water board. I think everybody understands that, you know, and DWS staff has assured me that it's a code, and so I'm relying on that.
Because it's a long time.
So basically all, you know, I just had an opportunity to give you the summary because, as you know, ordinance 12-114 requires that any changes to the ordinance code needs to come through to the city council for actual code review and recommendation. So that's what you'll see coming down the pipe. So back on going,
So is the motion to recommend?
no, it's fine. It's just letting, giving you a heads up that something's coming. I'm thinking about going into code changes probably it's either May or June. I say June. When we talk.
So we would like the recommendation our next meeting.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, you could have, give questions or advice. And the next week, present at the next meeting.
Any other comments on the, code changes there? Future agenda items. Will recycling the State Department of Education contracts for public schools, we have that slated for May. I'm waiting for some answers to see what transpires. With, Senator Rooney. May not have to, might have something or I don't. And certain extra waiver exemption policy update to include expected rate of utilization. Oh, and I'm sorry, back to the other, future agenda item. We had some preliminary discussions with, the department regarding recycling in schools, and they're targeting several schools this winter. Remember?
Spoke with
Yes, human services.
yeah, they're putting out bid.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was wondering whether they did some.
No, no.
Sewer connection, but also very small.
We try, we're gonna have to keep that one in the future item.
I have two questions.
Yes.
We want to leave Southwest Center, what's the plan on this Christmas for next meeting?
I can hear you, Sharon.
We want to leave the cemetery, the Hilo, the closure plan on, still, we want to leave it on unfinished business.
Let's do our unfinished business, put the dates for next
Do we want to add those sewer, the county code changes to unfinished business in the county agenda? We'll also have the appeals.
She's also mentioning that there may also be agenda item for, you allow an extension of time to pursue. So that would be a little bit different agenda item. It's party doesn't have to go through the decision to do that. And I think the council, lawyers are involved in looking at trying to sell different ones. Right now, we have the agenda.
Any future agenda suggestions?
I'd like to have an understanding of the process with the timeline, who's involved in reevaluation of solid waste issues. This sounds like a sort of premature reevaluation of the integrated solid waste management plan, but how,
Well, that's what I need, that's what I said I need to work on, is to come up with a plan of timeline. That's where I need to assess whether the mayor needs to come.
if we're taking a different fork in the road, how is that decision to be arrived at? Who are the players, are the consultants, are they?
There is that possibility of having consultants help with looking at feasibilities, some waste reduction technology, and also helping with us looking at how the recyclable programs fit in. Like I said, there's looking, we need to look at examine feedstock requirements, and also the energy, this waste energy, what kind of energies are we looking at? What kind of feedstock amounts and types we require.
Would you like to see some agenda?
Yeah, I would just like to understand what the process would be to arrive at a decision. Is it an administrative decision, or is there a sort of larger scale overall decision?
We have a meeting with the mayor.
I'm going to try and set up the meeting with the mayor and chart this out. Yeah, I understand what you're asking for. You're asking for what are the roadmaps? How
How we make the
yeah,
decision.
right. What is the decision-making process? And that's what I need to discuss.
So actually trying to keep that to a discussion with South Hilo sanitary landfill closure.
Yeah, and I think why you're going to lose is about the process of how the decision was made.
So I would suggest that just one of those, we want to have this discussion, lengthy discussion about how this will reuse into the other that should be stated as agenda. That's.
And then, you're not able to meet, or you don't have any updates, just carry it over.
Like I said, I'm focused also on budget.
Yeah,
So, you know, we have time now.
It's not, you know, it's,
We'll still discuss it.
if it's on the agenda, it's,
If we can. What's on the June agenda, some kind of projects or for some developments and have it on the June agenda and on the May agenda, perhaps we can discuss it under unfinished business with a few landfill, is that possible?
typically, simply it has to do with the landfill.
In the compost and wash area.
it's most likely I'll have something more defined then.
So we'll get to the 26th, but you kind of go up to
I'm focused on presentation of sewer facilities in May, and also sewer rate study.
Any other agenda suggestions from commission members? If not, any other comments or suggestions from commission members before move to adjourn?
That's going to be my, you might want to be related to the product that needs to be
On the agenda items, add. Thank you.
She's just asking for additional comments on something like that. Recommendations will be these agenda items, I just look up and
All of that, motion to adjourn.
Any discussion?
All in favor? All opposed? Motion approved.
See, that's important, because does the mayor have lawful authority to take policy decisions off the table at his whim? You folks theoretically come up with an excellent plan, having nothing to do with what I testified on, that really works. And does the mayor have the authority to say, no, I take that off the table? So that's a very important question. The other thing is, the Hilo landfill, you know how accelerated we need to get moving on some alternative for where we're gonna go? If we had one hurricane, that landfill would be filled up with Hilo. And so this committee should also be thinking in terms of, natural disaster, how much headroom, minimal headroom do you want to keep at the Hilo landfill? It's all we got over there. And look at it, look at the lessons we should learn from it. I'm telling you right now, the Hilo landfill is full up. You know, it's, what is this agenda says? 3.5 to 4 years. One natural disaster creates far more than that.